Morning, boys and girls. We're in the last chapter of Ozma of Oz. It's called Dorothy's Magic Belt. And remember, she took the magic belt from the Gnome King, so I'm supposing she's going to use it in some way while she's in Oz. Um, and then we'll have to figure out something new to start. Maybe we'll do another Oz story. Dorothy's Magic Belt. Dorothy passed several happy weeks in the land of Oz as the guest of the royal Ozma, who delighted to please and interest the little Kansas girl. Many new acquaintances were formed and many old ones renewed, and wherever she went, Dorothy found herself among friends. One day, however, as she sat in Ozma's private room, she noticed hanging up on the wall a picture which constantly changed in appearance, at one time showing a meadow, and at another time a lake, a forest, or a village. "How curious!" she exclaimed, after watching the shifting scene for a few moments. "Yes," said Ozma, "that really is a wonderful invention of magic. If I wish to see any part of the world or any person living, I need only express the wish, and it is shown in the picture." "May I use it?" asked Dorothy eagerly. "Of course, my dear." "Then I'd like to see the old Kansas farm and Aunt Em," said the girl. Instantly the well-remembered farmhouse appeared in the picture, and Aunt Em could be seen quite plainly. She was engaged in washing dishes by the kitchen window, and seemed quite well and contented. The hired men and the teams were in the harvest fields behind the house, and the corn and wheat seemed to the child to be in prime condition. On the side porch, Dorothy's dog, Toto, lay fast asleep in the sun, and to her surprise, old Speckles was running around with a brood of 12 new chicks trailing after her. "Everything seems all right at home," said Dorothy, with a sigh of relief. "Now I wonder what Uncle Henry is doing." The scene shifted in the picture at once to Australia, where, in a pleasant room in Sydney, Uncle Henry was seated in an easy chair, solemnly smoking his briar pipe. He looked sad and lonely, and his hair was now quite white, and his hands and face thin and wasted. "Oh," cried Dorothy in an anxious voice, "I'm sure Uncle Henry isn't getting any better, and it's because he's worried about me. Ozma, dear, I must go to him at once." "How can you?" asked Ozma. "I don't know," replied Dorothy, "but let us go to Glinda the Good. I'm sure she will help me and advise me how to get back to Uncle Henry." Ozma readily agreed to this plan and caused the Sawhorse to be harnessed to a pretty green and pink phaeton, and the girls rode away to the famous sorceress. Glinda received them graciously and listened to Dorothy's story with attention. "I have the magic belt, you know," said the little girl. "If I buckled it around my waist and commanded it to take me to Uncle Henry, wouldn't it do it?" "I think so," replied Glinda, with a smile. "Then," continued Dorothy, "if I ever wanted to come back here again, the belt would bring me." "In that you are wrong," said the sorceress. "The belt has magical powers only while it is in some fairy country, such as the land of Oz or the land of Ev. Indeed, my little friend, were you to wear it and wish yourself to Australia with your uncle, the wish would doubtless be fulfilled, because it was made in a fairyland. But you would not find the magic belt around you when you arrived at your destination." "What would become of it?" asked the girl. "It would be lost, as your silver shoes were when you visited Oz before, and no one would ever see it again. It seems too bad to destroy the use of the magic belt in that way, doesn't it?" "Then," said Dorothy after a moment's thought, "I will give the magic belt to Ozma, for she can use it in her own country, and she can wish me transported to Uncle Henry without losing the belt." "That is a wise plan," replied Glinda. So they rode back to Emerald City, and on the way it was arranged that every Saturday morning Ozma would look at Dorothy in her magic picture, whenever the little girl might chance to be. And if she saw Dorothy make a certain signal, then Ozma would know that the little Kansas girl wanted to revisit the land of Oz, and by means of the Gnome King's belt would wish that she might instantly return. This having been agreed upon, Dorothy bade goodbye to all her friends. Tik-Tok wanted to go to Australia too, but Dorothy knew that the machine man would never do for a servant in a civilized country, and the chances were that his machinery wouldn't work at all. So she left him in Ozma's care. Billina, on the contrary, preferred the land of Oz to any other country and refused to accompany Dorothy. "The bugs and ants I find here are the finest flavor in the world," declared the Yellow Hen, "and there are plenty of them. So I shall end my days here. And I must say, Dorothy, my dear, that you are very foolish to go back to that stupid humdrum world again." "Uncle Henry needs me," said Dorothy simply, and everyone except Billina thought it was right that she should go. All Dorothy's friends in the land of Oz, both old and new, gathered in a group in front of the palace to bid her a sorrowful goodbye and to wish her a long life and happiness. And after much handshaking, Dorothy kissed Ozma once more and then handed her the Gnome King's magic belt, saying, "Now, dear princess, when I wave my handkerchief, please wish me with Uncle Henry. I'm awfully sorry to leave you and the Scarecrow and the Tin Woodman and the Cowardly Lion and Tik-Tok and everybody, but I do want my Uncle Henry so. Goodbye, all of you." Then the little girl stood on one of the big emeralds which decorated the courtyard, and after looking once again at each of her friends, waved her handkerchief. "No, I wasn't drowned at all," said Dorothy, "and I've come to nurse you and take care of you, Uncle Henry, and you must promise to get well as soon as possible." Uncle Henry smiled and cuddled his little niece close in his lap. "I'm better already, my darling," he said. And that is the end of Ozma of Oz and Dorothy's adventures in the land of Ev and Oz. I hope you enjoyed this book. Like I said, it's one of my favorites. There is a movie called Return to Oz that is loosely based on this book. It has the Wheelers and Tik-Tok and Billina and Dorothy and Ozma and some of the other characters, the Gnome King. Princess Langwider is the bad guy besides the Gnome King. She's not very nice in the movie. In the book, she's just vain and cares more about her appearance than people. But in the movie, she's a little bit meaner. If you are interested in comparing the book to the movie, it's Return to Oz. It was made in the mid-80s, early 90s. It's kind of old movie. But that's the end of that. So maybe tomorrow I will start another. Like I said, I've got this huge book. Whoops. It's that thick. All different stories of Oz. Plus I have two more the same size as this one of other stories about Oz. So maybe we could read about Ginger. Remember her being mentioned? She created an army of girls to take over Oz and overthrow the Scarecrow. It's actually a pretty good story. Maybe that would be a good one to read. But keep that in mind. Let me know if there's anything you'd like to hear about Oz, and we'll look at something new tomorrow. Have a good day. Bye.